This is the Unit 1, Part 2, Colonization Test. What were the main cash crops grown on the plantations of the southern colonies? A. Cotton and tobacco. B. Indigo and wheat. C. Rice and rye. D. Sweet potatoes and soybeans. Number 2. Why did the colony of Carolina split into two separate colonies in 1729? A. North Carolina had a more developed transportation system. B. Political differences causes the government to separate into two. C. The king wanted more colonies and asked them to separate. D. North and South Carolina were fighting about slavery. Number 3. Why was North Carolina's slave population smaller than other southern colonies? A. They had fertile soil. B. They had large naval stores. C. They had few good ports. D. There were better jobs in the North. Number 4. Which of the following statements about colonial regions is correct? A. The New England colonies had a warm climate perfect for growing cash crops. B. The southern colonies used slave labor to develop their plantation economy. C. The economy of the middle colonies was based on sustenance, farming, and ranching. D. The southern colonies were a melting pot of separatist groups. Number 5. What part of the triangular trade system included the harsh voyage of slaves from Africa to the Americas? A. The Middle Passage. B. The Route of Terror. C. The Columbian Exchange. D. The Underground Railroad. Number 6. How is an indentured servant different from a slave? A. Indentured servants worked for a specific amount of years for passage to the New World. B. Indentured servants were shipped from Europe and worked on a plantation for life. C. Slaves came from Europe and were given a piece of land after being granted freedom. D. Slaves were under contract for a set period of time to work off a debt. Number 7. What was the significance of the lost colony? A. It encouraged England to continue settlement attempts in North America. B. It caused England to turn to Asia as a source of wealth. C. It led to the rapid growth of the North Carolina economy. D. It caused Europeans to fear Native Americans and abandon colonization attempts. Number 8. How were the colonies at Roanoke Island and Jamestown similar? A. The King of England refused to sign a charter for each of them. B. Most of their colonists died due to Native American diseases. C. They struggled to survive due to the lack of supplies and conflict with the Native Americans. D. Spanish attacks along the coast prevented the colonists from getting their crops harvested. Number 9. What was the purpose of a joint stock company? A. To establish a tobacco company that could trade for slaves. D. To create a business that established churches. C. To provide the capital and workers to run charter schools. D. To provide funds and resources to establish colonies. Number 10. Which is the most important geographic feature when selecting land for a colony? A. Waterways. B. Forests. C. Mountains. D. Plains. Read the following and answer the questions below. Reasons for the plantation in New England. What can be a better work and more honorable and worthy of a Christian than to help rise and support a particular church while in its infancy, and to join his forces with such a company of faithful people as by a timely assistance may grow stronger and prosper, when for want of such help may be put to great hazard, if not wholly ruined. 1628. Number 11. This excerpt explains an important reason that guided what group of colonial settlers? A. Debtors in Georgia. B. Tobacco farmers in Virginia. C. Quakers in Pennsylvania. D. Puritans in Massachusetts. Use the information in the box below to answer the question, North American settlers timeline. 1620. The Mayflower sailed from Plymouth, England, with 120 pilgrims on board. 1628. Puritans arrived in Salem and established the Massachusetts Bay Colony. 1634. Catholics traveled to Maryland on the ships Dove and Ark. 1682. William Penn, a Quaker, established the colony of Pennsylvania. 1683. 13 German Mennonite families settled in Pennsylvania. 1737. 21 Amish families traveled from the Netherlands to Philadelphia. Number 12. Which statement is best supported by the information in the North American settlers timeline? A. Most colonists who settled in America came because they thought it was the Silk Roads. B. Europeans facing religious persecution sought freedom in the American colonies. C. Separatist groups struggled to build friendly relations with the Native Americans. D. Religious tolerance was a European value brought to the American continent. Read the following and answer the questions below. Mayflower Compact. The Mayflower Compact is a written agreement composed by a consensus of the new settlers arriving at New Plymouth in November of 1620. They had traveled across the ocean on a ship Mayflower, which was anchored in what is now Provincetown Harbor near Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The Mayflower Compact was drawn up with fair and equal laws for the general good of the settlements and with the will of the majority. The Mayflower's passengers knew that the New World's early settlers failed due to lack of government. The compact established that the colony, mostly persecuted separatists, was to be free of English law. It was devised to set up a government from within themselves and was written by those to be governed. The original document is said to have been lost, but the writings of William Bradford's Journal of Plymouth Plantation and in Edwards Winslow Mort's Relation, a journal of the Pilgrims at Plymouth, are in agreement and accepted as accurate. The Mayflower Compact reads, "In the name of God, Amen. We whose names are underwritten, the loyal subjects of our dread sovereign Lord King James, by the grace of God, of England, France, Ireland, King, defender of the faith, and having undertaken, for the glory of God, the advancement of the Christian faith, and the honor of our King and country, a voyage to plant the first colony in the northern parts of Virginia, do by these presents solemnly and mutually, in the presence of God and of one another, covenant and combine ourselves together into a civil body politic, for our better ordering and preservation in furtherance of the ends aforesaid, and by virtue hereof to enact, constitute, and frame such just and equal laws, ordinances, acts, constitution, and offices from time to time, as shall be thought most meet and convenient for the general good of a colony, unto which we promise all due submission and obedience. In witness whereof, we have hereunto subscribed our names at Cape Cod the 11th of November, in the reign of our sovereign Lord, King James of England, France, and Ireland, the 18th, and the Scotland, the 54th, Anno Domini, 1620. Number 13. According to the document, why did the writers create the Mayflower Compact? A. They felt it would keep the Native Americans from attacking them. B. They felt it would bring organization which would help them succeed. C. They felt it would help them live cooperatively with Native Americans. D. They felt it would allow the King of England to maintain authority. Number 14. Why have famous Americans credited the writers of the Mayflower Compact with being the foundation of our United States Constitution? A. It demonstrated why a monarchy was the most effective form of government. B. It created a government that separated church and state. C. It was a model for the democratic ideal of self-government. D. It demonstrated why we should create a government approved by God. Number 15. Why did many separatists, such as pilgrims, come to the New World? A. To become wealthy off of trade goods. B. To learn and benefit from the native culture. C. To expand European empires. D. To seek religious freedom and escape persecution.